Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Once again, we are here with our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Yesterday, we went over many of our community's questions. So many great insights, I think. So many great questions asked. We talked about catabolism as we start to age, how protein requirements change after a certain age. We spoke about digestive issues. We talked about xylitol and if it's beneficial or not. We also went over the new vaccination that's being touted for this particular pandemic. We went over ECAT in one instance where it might not be indicated. And our last question that day went over flaxseed and if it should be used and can be used for constipation. So hopefully you checked out that. That was episode 1814. So you can just go to stephencabral.com/1814. And today, if you want to read along with the questions, just head on over to stephencabral.com/1815. So each and every weekend, if you're new to the show, we answer our community's questions. Today, we're starting off on December 6th of last year. So we are about 7 weeks behind. That's typically the pace that we've been maintaining. The more questions come in, the more I get behind. And that's because I answer 12 questions per weekend, typically never less, and typically not too many more. So that is what we do to maintain our 20-minute show time. That's what I try to hit for most people. We did a survey not too long ago, and many people found that that was kind of like the sweet spot, somewhere between 20 minutes and maybe like 22, 23 minutes. So just to be respectful of your time, since it is a daily show, and I believe knowledge doesn't come all at once. Knowledge is accumulated over time. You listen to more shows, you start to make connections between other things that you've heard in the past, you hear them again in a little bit different of a way, and that's truly how we learn. So that's why I like to do it. And of course, I love being able to talk all things health. Okay, so let's get right into it. First question today is from Cara. Cara says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm one of your IHPs, and unfortunately, it always seems like it's more difficult when we're addressing our own health concerns. In May, my father passed away, and this was on two of many other stressors. At that time, I developed a quarter-size rash on both of my hips. It took a couple weeks to go away, but then an insatiable itching took its place. This has been ongoing for 7 months now. If I have a compromised gut due to stress, I have no other symptoms, so I'm not sure if that's the place to start. The itching usually happens twice a day. I've done a 7-day FM detox during this time with no improvement. I also had a colonic 2 weeks ago, and there was no candida or parasites. Please point me in the right direction. I cannot afford my own personal health coach at this time. I'm a newly single mom and trying to figure it all out in the most precarious of times. Thank you, Dr. Cabral, for all you do." Cara, thanks for writing in. I'm happy to help here. So these rashes that sometimes are painful in the beginning and then lead to itchiness can be a form or at least a similar reaction to something like the shingles. I was about to say herpes because it's herpes, but the shingles-based virus or shingles in general. Let's just call it shingles. Now, usually shingles appears somewhere around the little bit of left, a little bit of right on the back, but it doesn't always have to. And I'm not saying that this is shingles because on this podcast, we can't give you a diagnosis. We don't provide treatments. We don't provide cures. We're giving you underlying root causes as to what might be going on with your health. And that's exactly what I want to share with you today. So most likely this could be autonomic nervous system, sympathetic nervous system stress-induced. Now, that's a big possibility. What would we do then to help that autonomic nervous system? Well, as an IHP, and let's say you can't do any labs, we would do our daily foundational protocol, level 1 or level 2, and then we would also use the adrenal soothe Okay, we would do at least 1 at lunch and 2 at dinner. And we would also do something to make sure you're getting deeper sleep. And so at a minimum, we would use full spectrum magnesium, 2 to 3 capsules with dinner, probably 1 at lunch as well to kind of calm that nervous system. So it's at least a potential place to get started. Do I believe that it's food induced? Well, if after you eat, you start to get more itchy, it very well could be stress, nervous system, and gut related, meaning the nervous system and the gut are causing more of a histamine or a histamine-based reaction. So that's always a possibility. Look for new foods that were introduced. Look for food sensitivities. If you're able to run some labs, certainly I would look at the stress hormones mood and metabolism lab, and then I would run the starter kit. And then if after those, the next order would be food sensitivity, and then omega-3. So, Cara, that is the place to get started. Hopefully, that's helpful. Mike is up next. Hello, wondering what the investment is to work with Stephen Cabral and how his waiting list is. Thank you, Mike. All right, Mike, you're always able to write in for these types of questions, which are more like customer service based, at support@stephencabral.com. That's completely fine to do. Right now, I am on sabbatical from private practice and have been for about 90 days. But what I do is I oversee, along with Dr. Jennifer, the entire Equalife-based health coaching team. So the best thing that you can do while I'm creating my health results accelerators, and if you don't know what those are, you can head on over to stephencabral.com/courses. And what I'm doing is essentially doing a deep dive, 4 to 5 hours. It's going to save you years of trying to figure out what's wrong with you. If you have an issue with your thyroid, there's a thyroid one. If you have an issue with your hormones, there's a female hormones one. I'll do a male hormones in the future. I have a gut health one coming out soon. We're going to be doing one on adrenals and energy. We're going to be doing them on skin, like all sorts of different things. So, Mike, what I recommend is heading over to equa.life/health-coaching. That's it. equa.life/health-coaching. You can work with my personal health coaching team that Dr. Jennifer and I oversee. We go over case studies together. We look at all those specific things, and you get a nice plan that's included with any labs that you choose to run. So you can check that out again at equa.life, and you can just click on coaching, or you can actually type in /health-coaching. Thank you, Mike, for writing in. Great question. Okay, up next. Next question is from Kika, K-I-C-A. Hello, Dr. Ball. My husband has been suffering from chronic pain for the last 7 years. He's about 53 years old. It started with a bad cold he got from our son, and since then, he's never been the same. By the Western medic standards, he's a healthy man. On top of all this, physical activity makes him worse. The only thing he can do is walk, so he doesn't have a way of releasing his stress by sweating it off. He also has mild sleep apnea. He recently told me he never feels good. It's very sad. He's a very bright man. Before we make the financial commitment, as I'm sure your services are not covered by insurance, I was wondering if you can help him. Do you have any cases like this? I also would like to understand better your approach. Is it nutrition and vitamins? He's tried cleanings and detoxes, but has not made a difference on his pain at all. Looking forward to hearing back from you. Best, Kaika. Okay, so yes. So here's the thing. We work with everyone. I never sell anyone on any of our services. It has to make sense for you. But also, we have so many different levels. So, for example, the best thing that you and your husband can do is read The Rain Barrel Effect. I mean, I know they haven't read that because it's all in there, right? So, and that's okay. Again, like I don't fault anybody for that. I mean, I would love it to be standard reading. There's no doubt about it. But it goes over, my protocol is called the De-Stress Protocol that I founded. It's diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest and sleep protocols, emotional balance, supplements, and success mindset. But I want to give you a little bit more of a caveat, because most likely your husband got sick and he's dealing with a post-inflammatory viral syndrome right now, okay? I spoke about this, and I would love for you to listen to this, so I'm going to get it for you right now. And it is on 1776, because people think that this inflammatory issue going on with some people, a small minority of people, after they get this particular pandemic virus, that this is, happening to everybody. It's not. I had it when I had Epstein-Barr virus. Many people have it. And it ends up being what's called myalgic myelencephalitis or myalgic myelencephalomyelitis. So I know it's a mouthful, but basically this explains most likely, again, I can't provide you with a diagnosis, nor would I want to, of what's going on. It's why you can't do physical activity. It's why you can't exercise. And the truth is that, again, I teach all of this inside of the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, which you could certainly do that. You can even just do the educational course. You could do the Big 5 labs that come along with the protocol, or you could join the private health coaching program, which is actually the highest touch, meaning you get initial consultation, you get personally recommended labs, you get a personal protocol after that, you get all the different steps. So we'll help you however you want. That's the truth. You can start with the rain barrel effect, which is, you can start first with episode 1776. That's free. The rain barrel effect is like $14. All profit is donated to charity. And then you could do a Big 5. You could do all sorts of different things. But just keep in mind that when someone's tried cleanses and detoxes before, it doesn't mean that it was a functional medicine-based system. If you buy something on Amazon, no offense, not trying to be condescending, I know people who create Amazon-based companies, they just do it because it's popular and they do it for the money. They buy the cheapest ingredients, they make the product. Remember, there's no regulations over this, and that's what they do. We don't do that. As a clinical practitioner, anything I formulate has to be to get a client results. Because if I don't get people results, they don't tell their friends, they don't come back, there's no practice. And I would not be in practice for 25 years if we weren't able to help people. That's the truth. But again, you don't need to work with me. You can also work with any one of the 3,000 or so integrative health practitioners around the world as well. All right, so hopefully that's been helpful. Flossie is up next. Since the first time I heard you on Allison Melody's podcast, Food Heals, I have been hooked on your podcast. Your story is extremely inspiring, and you have a wealth of knowledge. Your story inspired me to write my book, Village Vibes, on my story on reversing an autoimmune disease. I am looking to raise up my low vitamin D levels of 18 that was recently tested to the recommended 50 to 70. What are your recommendations, especially because I have a history of hypertension? Thank you, Flossie. Flossie, thank you for writing in. I'm very happy to hear that you're a supporter of the show. Much appreciated. And Allison's an amazing woman and does some amazing things in the natural health field in her own right, especially on her podcast. So what can I share with you? Vitamin D is fantastic. Everybody should be using it. Everybody should get it naturally from the sun, from a vitamin D lamp, or from supplements. Most people, the very easiest thing to do is simply take the supplements. Now, for most people, it's easy as doing 4 drops of the liquid vitamin D. The vitamin D that I use is at equa.life. That's what I formulate. That's what I use. That's what my 2 daughters use. That's what my wife uses. That's what my parents use, and everyone in our practice. So that's what we use. And it's very simple. It's inexpensive and it's simple. And so that's that. So how do you know? Well, most people need about 35 IUs per pound of body weight, and that equates to about 4,000 to 5,000 IUs per day. I use the daily nutritional support every day, and I get 400 IUs there. And then I do 4 drops a day. So I get 4,400 IUs. I just had my vitamin D tested. It was a 54. So I'm right in that sweet spot between 50 and 70. Sometimes my levels are 65. Sometimes they're 54, but I always keep them within that 50 to 70. So that's that. So then on top of that, you want to be taking vitamin D with something like the daily nutritional support or the daily activated multi, because you want to get it with magnesium and vitamin K, ideally K2, which is what we put in our formulas as well, calcium, and the other cofactors. So that's it. Honestly, it's for most people as easy as that. And then you might want to add full spectrum magnesium, 1 capsule at lunch, 2 at dinner, to help with the calcium magnesium balance in the body. But of course, I don't know if you're an integrative health practitioner. It doesn't say so. You might want to run the minerals and metals test just to look at your calcium and magnesium levels. And if you have hypertension, then of course you want to work with a natural health practitioner to be able to rebalance that naturally instead of just using pharmaceuticals, in my opinion. Okay. Great question, though. Carla's up next. Hey, Dr. Cabral, thank you so much for everything you do. Well, we all truly appreciate your dedication to helping others. My question is regarding my husband. He's 30, pet body type, and extremely fidgety. I've never met anyone as fidgety as he is, and it's extremely irritating not only for the people around him, but for himself as well. He has done various 21-day functional medicine detox and has just finished month 3 of the CBO finisher. After completing the CBO, he takes the daily foundational protocol level 3 every single day with the addition of balanced zinc, full spectrum magnesium, and adrenal soothe. His nutrition is based on your recommendation, and he exercises more days than not. Any advice would be appreciated. Thanks. Carla, thank you for writing in. Great question. So let's say your husband is truly a pitta body type. I'm going on your word here, and I believe you, so it's not that I don't, but he's suffering from a vata-based disturbance, okay? So just because you are a body type, you can suffer from other issues. So constant movement, especially fidgeting or shakes or anything like that, is a vata disturbance. So I'm very happy to hear that he's using magnesium and adrenal soothe. I would love to know if that's helping, if it got slightly better with doing that. And then also, is he using maybe something like liquid melatonin at night to quiet the nervous system? Is he taking enough full spectrum magnesium? Is he taking enough adrenal soothe? But really, at this point, we want to see what is going on to causing that fidgeting. Is it been his entire life? Did it happen after a specific event? Has it gotten worse with age? These are all the questions that working with like someone on our health coaching team, they would ask you. And then you'd be able to get to the bottom of it, because for right now, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know your reason why. Remember, there's always an underlying root cause. There's always an answer. Maybe he has heavy metal overload. I don't know. I really don't know. I know you did the functional medicine detox, which is great, but has he done a heavy metal detox? And I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but for most people, once a year, it's great. What I would do at this point is, if possible, run the Big 5. It already is going to come then with the health coaching call, so that's great. And if you can't do that, then I would at least begin with the starter kit. So if he can't do the Big 5, I would do the starter kit. And then if he's able to do one more, I would add on the stress hormones, mood, and metabolism for sure. Yes, that's what I would do. And then just make sure he's getting enough of those omega-3s as well, if you're not going to run that lab. All right, so that's what I recommend. Thank you, Carla, for writing in. Arthur's up next. I believe I've been suffering from mercury poisoning from my 12 amalgam fillings most of my life. I mean, suffering. I've recently had half of them safely removed, smart, and the rest soon. Mercury in my blood was at 11, but I feel there is a lot of mercury in my cells, and it has started affecting my organs and especially my brain. I need a detox program. I'm a little worried about doing it wrong, so where should I start? Okay, Arthur, really happy that you're working on this, since most people never have any idea of all of the issues that the mercury in their mouth causes over time. Very important that you have them safely removed. Very, very important. Usually never more than 1 or 2 at a time, especially with a qualified practitioner. I talk about qualified practitioners in my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, where you can find them, et cetera, et cetera. I believe the abbreviation is IAOMT, International Organization of something mercury toxicity, but you'll be able to find it. So you can just type into internet IOAMT dentist or IAOMT dentist, and you'll be able to find it for sure. Okay, and it's written in my book. I've talked about it on previous podcasts, but you'll be able to find it. All right, so what do we do? Well, most likely we're going to have to do multiple rounds of the heavy metal detox. So we're talking about, it's a 6-week protocol, then doing a functional medicine detox. Doing the functional medicine detox first, then the heavy metal protocol, taking about a month off and then repeating. And I would also be using the infrared sauna as many days as possible, 30 to 40 minutes at a time. Again, I can't give you a treatment protocol, Arthur, because we don't treat, we don't cure disease. We help you with those underlying root causes. So certainly open up the liver pathways, then use something like the heavy metal detox in order to bind up and remove from the body. Make sure that you're not constipated so that you're having at least 1 to 2 bowel movements per day. Sweat, you want to sweat out those toxins as well. Heavy metals, you can do that through infrared sauna. You can do it through exercise as well. It's just infrared sauna is even better. And that's that. You can use the intestinal cleanse as well. It's always a nice thing to do about halfway through your heavy metal detox to help with the binding too. So Arthur, that is at least your starting point. Again, you can always work with an integrative health practitioner, a local naturopathic doctor, whatever may work for you. And then, of course, that's on top. Whenever I say heavy metal detox, I mean on top of the daily foundation protocol, level 2 or level 3. That's your basis, right? So that's where you start. Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate reading and answering these questions every weekend. It makes me feel like I'm able to kind of touch our community, able to connect, and that means a lot for sure. So thank you so much. Of course, if any of this information is helpful, please always feel free to pass it along to anyone else you believe it could serve. And also, I'll be back tomorrow with our next Mindset and Motivation Monday, the best way to start the week. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. And today, as always, at the end of the show, I try to share with you what we have going on for our listeners, for our community, and you won't want to miss this one. Right now, going on over at Equilife, you can get a free bottle, more than a 30-day supply, typically a couple months supply of our liquid vitamin D3. This is a favorite of the community. It is one of the products used in our immunity protocol, and it is something that we try to offer every single January every year for about 4 years running now. And that is because vitamin D helps with your wellness-based goals. It helps with your immunity. It helps with your weight loss goals. It helps with anti-aging. Vitamin D is one of those nutrients that your body needs on a daily basis, and also something that works with over 300 different processes within the body. So it's very important that if you're not maintaining a tan on a weekly basis, that you most likely need to supplement with vitamin D3. The average dosage for adults is about 35 IUs per pound of body weight. Same with children. I use 4 drops per day. So does my wife. That's in addition to the daily nutritional support. And both of my daughters, who are now over 35 pounds, they use 1 drop per day. So it's simple to take. Honestly, it's not a dropper. It's just 1 drop. You can put it under your tongue when you're having a meal or with a smoothie. It's super easy to use. I do mine typically right at breakfast, just 4 drops under my tongue, and I can just have my smoothie with it, and I'm good to go. So right now, it is yours completely free, especially this time of the year. It's absolutely needed. So you can head on over to equa.life, pick up anything that you desire over there, whether it be a lab, the daily foundational protocol, whatever you need. Any purchase over $99 gets this free bottle of liquid vitamin D. Same product I've been using in my practice now for about a decade, and it's one that I can't recommend enough. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the special promotion. Head on over to equa.life right now for details.